It's Biomed Cafe menu. Receptor ligand will be presented today. We will talk about receptor ligand, ligand types, receptor types, and quiz time. I'm Dr. Biomed, cellular and molecular biologist. Hi everybody, welcome to the Biomed Cafe channel. In this channel, complex biological and medical contents are presented in a simple, classified, and summarized form. Receptor. A receptor is a protein which binds to a specific molecule. Ligand. The molecule that binds a receptor is known as a ligand. Some examples of ligands are inorganic minerals, organism-created proteins, hormones, and neurotransmitters. The ligand binds to ligand binding site on the receptor protein. Receptor ligand. A complex signaling pathway inside of the cell begins with the binding of a ligand to receptor. Binding of a ligand to the receptor changes its shape and activity, allowing it to transmit a signal or directly produce a change inside of the cell. Agonist. They can also attach to the ligand binding site on a receptor. They mimic the effect of a natural ligand. They often have a stronger affinity for the receptor than the natural ligand does. They will stay attached to the receptor longer. One example of agonist is synthetic drugs as endorphins agonists. They create feelings of satisfaction. Antagonists. They block the ligand binding site on a receptor, but do not allow the receptor to undergo a conformation change. This blocks a signal entirely. Example of antagonists. Some drugs which are used to wean people off of heroin and alcohol dependency. These act by making the use of the drug no longer pleasurable. Ligand types. Ligand can be divided into two types. Number 1, ligands that can enter the cell. Number 2, ligands that bind on the outside of the cell. Ligands that can enter the cell. Characteristics. They are small, hydrophobic ligands. They can pass through the plasma membrane. They bind to intracellular receptor in the nucleus or cytoplasm. They don't have trouble crossing the plasma membrane. And they must bind to carrier proteins in order to travel through the bloodstream. Example of ligands that can enter the cell. Steroid hormones, such as female sex hormone estradiol, that it's a type of estrogen, male sex hormone testosterone, and vitamin D, and nitric oxide or NO. It's a gas that acts as a ligand. It makes the smooth muscle relax and allows the blood vessels to expand. Ligands that binds on the outside of the cell. Characteristic. They are water-soluble ligands, polar or charged. They bind to the extracellular domains of a cell surface receptors. They cannot readily cross the plasma membrane. They stay on the outer surface of the cell. Example: peptide or protein ligands, such as growth factors, hormones such as insulin, and certain neurotransmitters. Receptor types. Receptor can be divided into two types. Number 1, intracellular receptors, and number 2, cell surface receptors. Cell surface receptors can be divided into three subtypes. Number 1, ligand-gated ion channels. Number 2, G-protein coupled receptors. And number 3, receptor tyrosine kinases. Key points of receptor ligand. A receptor is a protein which binds to the specific molecule. The molecule that binds a receptor is known as a ligand. When this binding happens, the receptor undergoes a conformational change. This change its shape slightly alters the protein's function. Quiz time. Question number 1. Ligand can be A. Hormone, B. Protein, C. Neurotransmitter, and D. All of them. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. D is correct. Question number 2. Binding of an to a receptor changes its shape and activity. A. Ligand, B. Antagonist, C. Both of them, and D. None of them. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. The correct is A. Bindings of a ligand to a receptor changes its shape and activity. Question number 3. Which of following is not character of ligand that can enter the cell? A. Hydrophobic ligands, B. Small, C. They bind to intracellular receptors, and D. They cannot pass through the plasma membrane. You have 10 seconds time. Time is over. D is correct. They cannot pass through the plasma membrane. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, and if you like the contents of this video, please like it. Until the next video, bye.